You are listening to Grow with Ralph. Hello, greetings, and welcome. This is Ralph from growwithralph.com. And this first podcast is going to be an introductory one. This is going to be my opportunity to tell you a little bit about myself, how I got started in home-based business, and where I'm really planning to take my home-based business now. I am, I was getting ready to say a middle-aged guy, but I was born in 1961. This is 2020, so hey, you do the math. But I was a late starter in the home-based business industry. I always wanted to do my own home-based business and enjoy that freedom, economic freedom, personal freedom of not having to hold down a 9 to 5 job because, well, in my life, I rarely really had 9 to 5 jobs. My jobs would be night shift, graveyard shift. Had a few 9 to 5s, but I felt like I really had to go where the money was, and for me, the late shift and graveyard shift really seemed to be where the opportunities were at that point in time. But I really got tired of having to commute to work on a daily basis, having to plan my schedule around my job, and in some cases, just really not having a personal life, just being the property of my employer for, 5, 6 days a week, and only having one day to really rest up with. So I always really wanted to get into home-based business, but for the longest time, I had no clue how to do it. And I spent the better part of my adult life working for other people. And then in 2011, I really had to make a choice. I was in a position where my parents that lived fairly close to me were going downhill. My mother had Alzheimer's disease, early onset Alzheimer's disease, or she was in the early stages of Alzheimer's. And my dad was in the early stages of vascular dementia. And our luck was bad at that time because they both started coming down with these illnesses at the same time. So instead of being hit with a single whammy, having to deal with somebody who's in the early stages of Alzheimer's disease, that's bad enough, but early onset Alzheimer's and then dealing with another parent that has early onset dementia, that really gave us a double whammy where my wife and I, came to realize we just could not leave them on their own, and we really didn't want to put them into a nursing home because they were in excellent health otherwise. They just needed a little bit of, shall we say, adult supervision or adult child supervision. So rather than spending a good part of my day commuting back and forth to work and then working for somebody else, we had to figure out a way that we could earn money at home that would give us the freedom to take care of my parents and take care of family matters. So home-based business was something that I always wanted to get into, and my wife also always really wanted to get into home-based business. And we just we agreed there that home-based business was where we needed to go. But how to get there? That was something that we had to sit down and figure out. So at the time, I was spending a good part of the day commuting 120 miles round trip to work in the city. We live out in the country, very few jobs, very few opportunities, very few full-time jobs. And so I was commuting to Springfield, Missouri to uh, get enjoy, working for somebody else with a full-time job. And I mean, it was enough of a job to make ends meet. But we had to figure out a way to cut that commute down to just practically nothing and be able to plan our schedule around, the needs of my parents. So, yeah, we sat down, we figured it out. It was coming on to spring when we first started thinking about forming our own home-based business. And so I thought about lawn care. That's something that I was already doing as a part-time job. My full-time job wasn't paying my full-time bills, so I was also hiring myself out to neighbors in the area doing lawn care, and I had been doing that for one season, and it was going fairly well. I had what I thought was good enough equipment to be able to do it full time. And so we decided to do that, and I just placed some ads in the local newspaper. And there was another city that I had been working in that was fairly close by, a small town. When I say city, I mean I don't mean city as in Kansas City or New York City. I'm talking about, smaller towns. But yeah, I had two towns that I was active in and that I had people in that really knew my work and could give me good references. So I decided to try to make that my full-time business rather than a part-time gig. And it actually it worked out for us fairly well for that first year. And so I gave my notice at my full-time job around, when was it, April, and just dedicated myself to working full-time from home. And so what I got into a regular routine where I would be getting up 4 in the morning, sometimes 3 in the morning, to get my home-based business work done before my parents woke up. Usually they got up at, oh, I mean, their behavior was kind of unpredictable, but a lot of times they didn't get up until, you know, 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. So I would get up early to where I would have a couple of hours a day to plan our home-based business, do some online work, advertise, whatever it was I had to do. And I would generally have, getting up at 3 or 4 in the morning, about 2 hours undisturbed where I could really do the home-based business work. And then 7 o'clock, whenever my parents got up, and I mean, they would phone me. They'd call me usually with a problem, or just rarely was it in their later years was it just to say hi. It would be some sort of problem, either real or imagined, and I had to just drop whatever I was doing and run up and help them out and calm them down and just be there for them. And so that was my day pretty much. First couple of hours in the day was doing home-based business work. Then I'd be going up there to take care of my parents. And then I'd be going out doing lawn care jobs. And usually at that point, my parents were, as long as they had somebody help them out in the morning, and then in the afternoon, I would usually be free to do lawn jobs, whatever it was that I was contracted to do, just working privately with friends, neighbors, and folks that I met through newspaper ads, and then come back and then be there for them in the evening, and just make sure that keep them out of trouble, essentially, and take care of their basic needs. And then I would have the rest of my time from about 7 o'clock until 10 o'clock to do whatever it was I needed to do. So, I mean, it was a full day, but I was pretty much used to it from previous jobs that required me to commute long distances and work a full-time job, and then either before or after that full-time job, work a part-time gig to help pay other expenses as well. So you can see where that kind of a grind kind of got to me after a while, but the beauty of having that past history, that past work experience where I was used to working like 10, 12 hours a day, is that when I finally had the ability to put that time and energy into my own home-based business, I began to see our home-based business actually take off. And it was just a combination of just determination to make the home-based business work, coupled with just dumb luck. I mean, I had a few ideas that were just right for that time, for that place, and with a little bit of skill and drive and determination, I was able to pull it off. And in our home-based business, when we decided to go full time, we were lucky enough where we were able to keep it full time and have it pay our bills pretty much within a couple of months. But I mean, I've seen other people where it takes like 2 or 3 years to get a home-based business profitable. So normally I recommend that if somebody is interested in starting their home-based business, but they have a full-time job, don't be in a hurry to fire your boss unless, like in our case, it was almost an absolute necessity. I had to let that go in order to have the time to look after my folks. But if you can hold down your full-time job and then work your home-based business on the side, that is a safer, better approach, because when it comes to home-based business, you can have a lot of freedom. If you're doing it right, you can have your personal freedom, you can have your economic freedom, and I mean, it's a beautiful thing. You can live wherever you want to live. You can plan out your schedule rather than letting a boss plan out your schedule for you. But it also means taking a lot of responsibility, and it means taking a lot of risk. Because if you're in a job working for somebody else and it's not paying the bills, you can always go out and find yourself another job. If you're intent on starting a home-based business and it's not paying the bills, uh, well, you can go out and find yourself another job, sure, but you have to let that dream go. And that was the position I was in for the first 40 years of my life, first 40 years of my adult working life, is that I always wanted to work for myself in my own home-based business. But the risk, I thought, was usually not worth it. I had friends and family that would always talk me out of it. And they would say, "Now look, how can you be sure that this is going to work out for you? How can you be sure that this is going to be paying the bills? How are you going to make a living doing this?" And then they'd always end up by saying, "You're a lot better off just working for somebody else." And for the first 40 years of my adult life, I bought it. But then 2011, I had a little bit of experience working part-time from home, and I was ready to take that risk. But it is a risk because when you succeed, it is beautiful. When you fail, it's not so beautiful. And working from home, I've tried a variety of different jobs to make ends meet. The first was the lawn care job, mowing lawns for elderly people that just couldn't do it for themselves. So, and I live in an area where we have a lot of elderly retired folks out in the country. People move out here because They want to get away from the city. They can't afford to live in the city anymore, and they're retired, so they want to live in an area where they can stretch out their what dollars they have, and so they move out to the sticks. And so we have a lot of retired people here. So I would plan on what can I do to help retired folks. And lawn care was one of those jobs. Another was house sitting, pet sitting, and that worked out fairly well for us because it was something that my wife and I could both do. And we would take jobs that were fairly close to where we lived or to where my parents lived. So, I could go over and take care of the neighbor's house, the client's house, take care of the client's dogs and cats, and then be able to break away and come back home to take care of my folks whenever it was necessary to do so. So yeah, lawn care was one thing that we tried and succeeded at. A pet sitting, house sitting was another thing that we tried. And another thing that we thought about but never really got into was home cooking. Being able to take orders for folks, do their grocery shopping for them, and then take the groceries to their home and uh, be there to cook the meal for them. Usually we planned on like doing the evening meal for them and being able to see if we could make that work. Now we never got into that, but that was one other idea that we had. And I kind of think that if we had gone that direction, possibly the COVID-19 pandemic would have shut that down, even in our little area. But yeah, back a few years ago, before the COVID-19 pandemic struck, that was one thing that we were considering. But that's another thing to kind of consider these days in trying to get your own home-based business started is how do you make your home-based business pandemic proof? And I think in future broadcasts I will talk more at length on how to do that. But really, if you're starting a home-based business now, which is, I think, a great thing to do because I see traditional jobs on the decline. I think that what we're going to be seeing with this whole COVID-19 pandemic is a rise in automation, a rise in AI taking over jobs, automation taking over jobs, and just a situation developing where if you want to make your own money, you're going to have to become an entrepreneur. And there may be a few other possibilities out there that I'm not seeing quite yet, but I think we are very well on that road of just Industry 4.0, where we're going to see a lot of advanced automation taking over traditional jobs. Uh, what was it? Walmart was partnering with a Google company. I read this a few months ago where they're wanting to develop an autonomous delivery fleet. And if they're successful in doing that, having self-driving cars somehow make deliveries, we're going to see major disruption in like FedEx jobs, UPS jobs, post office will be disrupted when we see self-driving cars making deliveries, or what Amazon is doing with their uh, drone delivery. We're going to see some major disruption in the job field right there. So I see the future as belonging to the entrepreneur pretty much. If you want to make your own job, be financially independent, becoming an entrepreneur, I think it's the way to go. But you also have to worry about creating a business that is pretty much pandemic proof because we've seen COVID-19 hit this last year, and next year, I don't know. They're already talking about more instances of COVID-19 coming up, and I wouldn't be surprised if they hit us with something like COVID-21 in January or February of next year. That would not surprise me at all. So I think becoming an entrepreneur, a home-based business person, is probably a good idea if you can figure out a way to make it work. And in upcoming episodes, we're going to talk more at length about how to get your home-based business started and doing it without breaking the bank, without spending, an arm and a leg with different business programs to try to figure out what's going to work for you. So we're going to cover that in future podcasts. But the challenge is just finding something that is going to be profitable, something that's going to be able to earn you a living at home, and something that is going to be pandemic proof. But the good news is it can be seen as being difficult. It's rather uncertain. There is risk in being a work-at-home business person, an entrepreneur. And that's one thing about being an entrepreneur. You have to assume, all that risk and then plan out how you're going to face down that risk and make things work. But the beautiful part about it is that once you get it figured out, you enjoy a lifestyle that is free. You enjoy your personal freedom, freedom with your time, freedom with your money, financial independence. It's a beautiful place to be in, but it does take some work to get from point A to point B, to get there. And in order to do that, you have to take a realistic look at what your capabilities are, what your talents are, and take a realistic look at how you're going to monetize, your talents, your time, your skills. And you have to keep positive. Just have to keep a positive attitude that despite the risks, you are going to make it, and just be determined that you're going to do whatever it takes to make your home-based business work. But it takes planning, it takes a realistic view of things, and it also takes a positive attitude. Let's take a break right now, and I'm going to play a song here by the Celtic Reggae Revolution, royalty-free music from Magnatune, and this song is called Positive.
Positive people. Positive with light. Happier.
This life is always changing. Nothing stays the same. Life has got its beauty, but life has got its pain. Take the rough with the smooth and get into the groove. Nothing ever was sure, so you ain't got nothing to lose. No, positive, that's the way I wanna live.
Positive change. Happier.
Positive, that's the way I wanna live.
Happier.
There ain't no problem, there's only solutions. There ain't no problem, no. There ain't no problem, there's only solutions. There ain't no problem, no. Positive, that's the way I wanna live.
Positive change. Happier.
Positive, that's the way I wanna live.
Happier. Positive love.
There ain't no problems, there's only solutions. There ain't no problems, no. solutions. There ain't no problems.
No.
Rock, 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 and don't stop. Lose the clocks. Let's talk. Take the shocks. Don't be blocked.
Positive love.
Release the vibes. Unlock the lock. And unwind.
Happier.
Free your mind. Be kind to yourself. Take your time. And be free. Be yourself. Don't try to please everybody else. Be true, to you. What's to lose?
Positive love.
Dance away these troubles.
Okay, that was Positive by the Celtic Reggae Revolution, a rather interesting group that I found on Magnitunes, where they provide a subscription service that provides royalty-free music for podcasts and videos, and I'd throw that one in today. But yeah, my first experience in home-based business, we were dealing face-to-face, belly-to-belly, as it were, with other human beings. And we did that for about a year, I think a couple of years in various capacities. And then we hit on the idea of just doing a business that was entirely online, where I could, as my parents' health deteriorated, I needed a job where I could be home 100% of the time. And so my wife and I hit on the idea of doing, we both had backgrounds in spirituality. I was a full-time pulpit minister for 6 years, and let that go to begin, work in home-based business, and did a few odd jobs on the side too. But I had a background in ministry. My wife also had a background in spirituality and spiritual teaching. So we hit on the idea of doing spiritual counseling online using a third-party service, and coaching, personal coaching. She really hit it off doing love and relationships coaching, which is something that really took off in a big way. She speaks English and Spanish, and she found just the perfect niche where she could be giving advice, spiritual advice, love and relationships advice in Spanish, and she developed a outstanding clientele, one that really helped to pay the bills in a big way, and one that would pay the bills with us working 100% from home. No need to commute whatsoever. So what we were able to do, we started our home-based business in the face-to-face world, working with real people, advertising in papers, but then giving them calls on the phone, and then going out and working with people face-to-face, working with their lawns, their homes, their dogs and cats. And then we made the transition to 100% online home-based business. And looking back, I am glad that we did, because all the other jobs that we were doing back in 2007, 2011, 2012, they would have been either shut down or significantly crippled by the COVID-19 pandemic. And having grown online the way that we did when we did, it was just perfect timing. So when we saw that pandemic taking place last year, as we saw the progression from China to other places in Southeast Asia and then over to Europe, we were ready for it. We had already begun. We had our money pretty much in order We started stocking up on dry foods, rice, beans, coffee, stuff like that. And we were, when the whole pandemic thing hit the United States, we were pretty much ready for it. The only thing that I didn't foresee was that silly darn toilet paper shortage. I didn't think to stock up on that, but everything else we were pretty much set for. So and that's where, with us, really, I can say some of it was planning, but some of it was just dumb luck. We just happened to be in the right place at the right time, and when you get some dumb luck working for you and not against you, life becomes a lot more positive, a little bit more easy. But the thing is, in your home-based business, when you hit a problem, you have to find that solution. And that's another reason why I like that song by the Celtic Reggae Revolution. There ain't no problems, there's only solutions. And that's a good mindset to have, because when you do hit a problem, and there are problems, but when you see a problem, you don't see it as a problem. You begin to see it as an opportunity. When you see a problem, you find the solution, then you discover, hey, I've got an opportunity here. I've got an opportunity to help myself, an opportunity to help my family. I've got an opportunity here to help my community. And then if you can figure out a way to monetize it ethically, and you can turn that opportunity into a business idea. But just wanted to share that with us, there was a progression. We started out in the face-to-face world of home-based business, and then gradually worked our way to 100% online, where right now I can be broadcasting out of my bedroom, out of a broom closet, be working anywhere I've got a keyboard. I mean, we enjoy that laptop lifestyle where we've got a job that we've created, a business that we've created, and we can take it anywhere we need to be, just easily, just with a laptop computer. I prefer desktops. I was getting ready to say you could do it on like a tablet or a cell phone. A lot of what we do, you could do there, but I don't know. At my age, I prefer the larger screen. I don't like squinting at those small screens. So, hey, give me a laptop or a desktop. That's more my style. But yeah, we made that progression, and I mean, I am no genius, and I got a late start on doing all of this. I didn't start out when I was 20. I started out when I was pretty much 50-ish. And that's all I'm going to say on that. But yeah, I got a late start, but I was able to take what experiences that I had previously and put them into my quest to build a profitable, stable, reliable home-based business. And we've been doing this now since 2011, and I think beginning that home-based business when we did was really the best decision that my wife and I made, and I'm glad that we made it. So that's a little bit about who I am and how I got started in home-based business, and a little bit about my backstory. And I mean, I've done a wide variety of jobs, clerical, light industrial, ministerial, working retail, and just a wide variety of different jobs and services that I've worked. And then I decided at the tender age of 50-something to go ahead and start working for myself and start creating my own opportunities. And that's a beautiful thing about, having the right mindset, is that when problems come up, you can see through the problem, find the solution, and then create an opportunity that can benefit you, your community, and if you want to push it out to the wider world, perhaps the world around you. Maybe not the entire world, but definitely the world around you. So that's going to be all for today's episode. In future episodes, we're going to be talking about, more specifically, how do I start a home-based business? Because I know there are a lot of people out there that are interested in creating their own business, becoming entrepreneurs. So I'll share a few ideas about how you can get started, share a little bit more about how we got started, and just explore different ways that you might be able to get started in your own home-based business. Then after that, we'll talk about in future podcasts advantages to having a home-based business and also advantages to having an online home-based business. And then lastly, this is the last idea that I have, but how to handle conflicts in your home-based business, because truthfully, if I had I could have gotten started a lot sooner in home-based business if I had done a better job of handling family conflicts when I was wanting to first get started in my home-based business. I wanted to get started in being an entrepreneur back when I was 18, but my parents were dead set against it. They wanted me to go on and become a minister, and they really talked me out of it, and I was living under their roof at the time, so I kind of felt okay. I'll go this other way, but my heart really wasn't into it. But if you can successfully handle conflicts, and conflicts will come up in any home-based business, but if you know how to handle those conflicts, it can really make the difference between getting your home-based business started or not getting it started, or seeing your home-based business become a success, or seeing it just flounder. Because, family conflicts, they will arise, conflicts with friends, frenemies, and whatnot. They do arise, and we will be talking about how to handle those conflicts in an upcoming episode. So that's all for today. Thank you for dropping by. If you like this kind of content, subscribe wherever you're hearing this. Please subscribe. And if you want to check me out, I've got my own website, of course. I got a few different websites. But the main one that I have right now is www.growwithralph.com. And on that blog, I've got some of the home-based business opportunities that I am into. I think I've got that under the tab Affiliate Offers. So check me out online if you want to explore a few of the different work-at-home opportunities that I am in now. Check that out at www.growwithralph.com. And until later, we will catch you again in future episodes. But hang loose, have a great Christmas season, and if you want to become a home-based business, work-at-home entrepreneur, stick with me, because we're going to be talking all about that in upcoming episodes. Thank you, and Christmas blessings. 'Tis the season.